So, what can I get you?
Is there anywhere you don't work?
They're called jobs, something a ball like you wouldn't know anything about. And by the way, I can't believe you asked Ramona out after I specifically told you not to do that.
How are you doing that with your mouth?
Never mind how I'm doing it. What do you have to say for yourself?
Can I get a caramel macchiato?
Welcome, Undead Goth Rockers, to Geek Salad episode 226, Herogasm. I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Katherine.
And tonight we are shrinking down to the size of an atom, crawling up the pee hole of somebody, and exploding to real size to bring you the our picks for the best and not so best of the non-Marvel and DC live-action comic book properties. It can be a movie, or it can be a TV show. We've got so much to talk about. So, how do you guys feel about this one? This was kind of an interesting one because it really made you think.
Yeah, like we talked about it after the last one, and I immediately sat down with a piece of paper and a pen and went crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, the media landscape nowadays is so dominated by DC and Marvel. It's really, you kind of really have to rack your brain, especially when you think that there's so much like there's so many movies. There are movies and TVs that you don't know are based on comic books unless you actually look them up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that was the other thing, was being like, which came first, and
Well,
because some things like.
I was going to say that, like, some of our social media feedback brought up stuff. I'm like, how the hell did I forget about that? And there's a lot there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, we put the call out to our friends on social media, and we got a lot of really good feedback, including a lot of great feedback from my friend Steve, who was going to join us tonight, but he drives a truck and is really not super into methamphetamine. So
Almost into glue.
Yeah,
good.
It's just
no glue, no meth.
No nothing. Please drive safe. So let's get started. Well, here's what we're gonna do. Let's start with our Twitter, because we did get quite a good amount of Twitter stuff here, and we can kind of park on stuff as we go. So we're going to kick this off with our good friend M from the Verbal Diorama podcast. That is Verbal Diorama on Twitter.
I am.
And M, of course, is going to give herself a shameless plug here.
Of course.
When I asked the question about what are some of your picks for great live action non-Marvel DC comics, well, all the ones I've done episodes on. The Crow, Mystery Men. I kind of hosted that one with her. The Rocketeer, the Addams Family. Good pick.
Wait a second, the Addams Family is based on a comic book?
It's based on a comic strip.
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
That's news to me.
Yep.
Never knew that.
Vendetta, which is kind of in that weird gray area because it's DC Vertigo.
Yeah, the Vertigo, anything dealing with the Vertigo imprint is weird because it was an independent publisher before they were bought by DC and they acquired all their properties.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but like if those characters are never going to run into Superman, they totally count as not DC.
Well, I think that's a discussion we can have about like the Sandman and stuff like that, because a lot of the characters that are in Sandman cross back and forth into the DC universe.
Yeah,
that's very true, and they kind of
wanted to do that
with Watchmen too.
Yeah,
with the newer Watchmen series where they do intertwine with Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
M also brings up Hellboy and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Constantine.
Yep.
Dread. And then she totally got caught up in everything because she does include The Incredibles, Akira, and Ghost in the Shell. I did say live action, and then she stopped herself on that. And by the way, just before we start diving into some of these individually, our good friend Derek Jones at Derek Jones 198, who was co-host with his lovely wife Laurel for the Midnight Myth podcast, just simply said what M said.
Yeah.
That's a smart man right there.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Constantine is a DC character, though.
But he got his start in Vertigo too.
Yeah. But he crossed.
He's one of the Sandman characters.
Yeah, but he's also very, very embedded in DC Comics.
Oh, now he is. Yeah.
All right. I'd like to actually I'm gonna segment this. We're not gonna do a full dive onto everything she said because a lot of people brought up several of these. Yeah. Let's talk about a few real quick, and let's get started with The Rocketeer.
To some, it was the fulfillment of a dream. To others, it was an instrument of destruction. A creation that could change the course of history.
It was stolen from my factory.
Where's the package?
This is the FBI!
What do we tell the president?
Tell me exactly why this merchandise is so important to the feds.
It's a rocket.
A rocket?
What? What's the matter?
I don't know. There's something under the seat.
Oh, my. What do we got here?
What are you supposed to do? Is it a bomb or something?
No. I wouldn't touch that if I were you.
How do I look?
Like a hood ornament.
Stand clear. What was that?
A flying man!
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Awesome.
That's great. It holds up. I watched it recently.
It's still, me too. I actually watched it, because of Disney Plus. It's so good. It's such a good movie.
Yep. Yeah, and stars Paul Sorvino. Rest in power.
Rest in peace.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. It's so. Not only is it's just when you watch The Rocketeer. First of all, you know that Joe Johnston was made to do Captain America: The First Avenger. Yeah. Based on how good he was with that time period.
I mean, he's fantastic at just write period pieces in general.
Yeah.
Well, the great thing about the Rocketeers, it calls back to all those 30s and 40s adventure serials.
Oh, yeah, Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
In such a way that I think George Lucas and Steven Spielberg would envy.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's got like it's nice because it's got sort of like this innocence, but it's not naive kind of.
Yeah.
It's an innocent movie, but it's in no way naive. It's grounded, but it's still a fun kind of like you don't have there are stakes to it, but you don't feel like, oh my god, you don't feel this dread over when you're watching it.
Right. What I love about it is that the costume itself, like the actual Rocketeer costume, is just a cleaned up version of Johnny Rocket Pack of Mars or whatever.
Commando Cody.
Yeah, essentially it's a flight jacket and a modified helmet.
Yeah. Right, and the only way that you control the jetpack is with these two thumb triggers.
Yep.
And it's like, you don't think too hard about it. It's like it doesn't force you to think about it. It's just you just accept that that's what it is.
Yeah.
And they even put that fin on the helmet so that he can steer with it.
Yeah, it works like a rudder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is too, you can't talk about The Rocketeer without talking about that amazing poster.
Oh god, yeah.
Seriously, top 5 all-time movie posters.
Plus, just an incredible score as well.
Oh,
that was James Howard.
Who was that?
I think it was James Howard.
No, it wasn't. It was oh my god, it's the guy who did all the James Cameron movies. James Horner.
Yeah, James Horner. Yeah, that's what I meant when I said James Howard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of his best, in my opinion, it's one of his best scores because once Cameron got his filthy claws into him, everything had to have a penny whistle in it. So
I also love his Field of Dreams score though.
okay. Yeah, I have such a soft spot for the Rocketeer. I wish my kids did though. They watched it, they were bored to tears.
Oh.
Yeah. Milkman's kids.
Too early. You know, like you either have to watch it young enough that you can just enjoy the action, or old enough that you can appreciate the nuance.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when it came out, it was my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
You know,
I was out of high school, going into college, and it's so good. It really is. It's one of the top.
It's easily one of my top 10.
Yeah.
One of my top 10 movies.
And one that I'm happy, like, gets that resurgence every once in a while.
Well, and you know, it's one of those things. Like, it's like I'd like to see a sequel, but it's not necessary.
Yeah,
kind of things.
No,
like, you know, if Disney announced it to be a sequel, like, okay, that's pretty cool, but it's not like I'm waiting in bated breath for one.
Well, didn't they make, like, fairly recently? Didn't they make a comic sequel called The Rocketeers or something like that?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt they did.
Yeah. Mike, maybe you remember this. A few years ago, they made a video game based on the Rocketeer, where he was fighting aliens, but it was the same basic outfit.
No, I don't remember it. What system was it for?
It was for the PS2 or PS3.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I got nothing.
Huh.
I'll see about looking that one up.
Interesting. All right. Well, we all give a hearty thumbs up to the Rocketeer.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, thoughts on the Addams Family? Mike and I did a retro review on this a few years ago, and I've watched it with my kids a few times. So
it's one of the few cases where I think the sequel is actually better.
I agree.
Definitely.
First one's good, but the sequel is better.
Yeah, I have a friend who's like, that's not my Gomez, because she grew up on the TV show, and so she's like, really, really enjoys that.
I mean, John Astin was really good as Gomez, though.
Absolutely, Raul Julia brings a completely different energy to the role.
Yeah.
But I liked him. I enjoyed the first movie, but I do agree that I enjoy the second movie much more. I'm going to watch that much more. That's one of my Thanksgiving movies.
Oh, nice call.
Yeah, that's a great call for a Thanksgiving movie.
Dark. I'm sorry. The game was called Dark Void.
Got it.
And it had the Rocketeer.
It was very. It's not exactly tied to the Rocketeer, but it ripped a lot from the Rocketeer.
Gotcha. Huh. Interesting. So, Joe, while you were looking that up, did you have any thoughts on the Addams Family?
Oh, I love the Addams Family. Raul Julia as Gomez, just inspired casting. I mean, that was that you don't get much better than that.
What I like about that movie is that nobody in that movie looks embarrassed to be in that movie.
Oh God, no, not even Angelica Houston, who's like this.
She made $1 million for that movie.
That's it.
Award-winning at that time.
It was 1991. That was a lot of money for an actress to be making around that time.
Okay, fair enough then. Like now, I'm just like,
I don't even think actors are making.
She deserved more, man. She was like, one of the things about the movie is that nobody looks embarrassed to be there, and they're all eating the scenery. Every single one, even the baby in the second, is eating the scenery.
Yeah.
They're just chewing on it all. It's amazing that there's any scenery left. Like everybody just was.
I mean, it was almost like every person was made exactly for their roles. You know, even Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Festus.
Fester. Yeah.
Fester.
I would say honestly, out of the entire cast, he's the one I was like, he's fine in the role. It's not quite where I wanted it to be.
It's like the one character they decided to actually do any changes with, because it really didn't harken back at all to, the Jackie Coogan, Uncle Fester of the TV show, which Which I'm fine with. I liked his character. I like what they do with his character because Fester kind of became at that point whatever the late '80s, early '90s version of a meme was. So,
Yeah.
And you know what? The beauty of the Addams Family movies are, I know it's based on comic books, and I know we kind of think of this more as based off the TV show, which I think the movie pulled more inspiration from.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you guys seen the trailer for the Munsters?
Yes.
Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
I have no desire to see that whatsoever.
Not yet, but I've seen stills and headlines about it and been like, eh.
All I can say is, well, first of all, I'm shocked that Full Moon Productions wasn't the first title that you saw in there. Secondly, after watching that trailer, I'm sure the producers were like, that's really funny, Rob. Where's the real movie?
Oh, boy.
Now you have to go check it out. It's getting, I mean, and I know Rob Zombie got really upset when people, were like, oh, it's good jumped on Netflix. He's like, yo, that was the plan all along. Was it, Rob?
Was it?
Was it?
Insert Thor meme here. Was it?
Yeah. But is it really? So moving on, let's move on to V for Vendetta, which we're only going to talk about quickly because it is DC adjacent.
Yeah,
in a way.
It doesn't exist in any DC continuity, so I guess we can work with it.
Okay.
Do you know why you're here, Evie Hammond? You're being formally charged with treason, terrorism, and sedition, the penalty for which is death by firing squad. You have one chance, and only one chance, to save your life. You must tell us the identity or whereabouts of Codename V. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Yes.
Are you ready to cooperate?
No.
The truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country.
Whoa! Excuse me, miss.
I'm sorry.
Not yet, you're not, but you will be. The only verdict is vengeance. A vendetta.
This needs to be turned into an HBO miniseries. A 2.5-hour movie did not do it justice because of the sheer amount of adjustment they had to make to fit it in under that time.
I haven't only seen the movie and not read the book. It's hard for me to say. I will say I watched it a couple of times, but nothing really about it stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing I really remember about it was the Natalie Portman part of it.
Right.
Yeah, I remember seeing this in theater, and I was like, it was a good movie, but they really didn't spend too much time kind of exploring the world that it exists in. So
yeah, you have a hard time understanding what B's motivation is.
Yeah,
and why he decided to dress up like Oliver Cromwell.
Yeah, the relationship between Guy Fawkes.
I'm sorry, Guy
Guy
Fawkes.
Fawkes. Yeah, it's about Guy Fawkes Day.
Yeah, the relationship between
something November.
The relationship between V and Natalie Portman's character I liked, but just everything outside of that felt a little kind of murky and not well defined.
Yeah, it needed the comic book, and the comic books themselves, I have bought like the collected, like the trade paperback version of it 3 or 4 times and lost it to loaning it to somebody and never getting it back about 3 or 4 times. So anyway, moving on. Hellboy and Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
In the absence of light, darkness prevails.
An ancient evil has returned, greater than any the world has ever known.
60 years ago, they tried to destroy the world. They're back.
Now, one secret government agency.
Welcome to the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense.
Has been called upon.
Hellboy.
To stand against them.
There are things that go bump in the night. And we are the ones who bump back.
Are you gonna be okay?
How big can it be?
Now these are the Ron Perlman, Benicio of the Bull.
The best Hellboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good Hellboy. Yeah, I remember when hearing about it. I didn't know that much about Hellboy, but when I saw that they'd cast Ron Perlman, I was like, well, there's a guy that can go around in full makeup after watching Beauty and the Beast. Because I really enjoyed watching Beauty and the Beast on TV, and so going like, oh, yeah, that guy can, and he had gotten better at it because that was early stuff that he'd done with all the serious makeup, and so it's he can totally go around chomping on a cigar and acting under all of those prosthetics and do a good job.
Yeah,
right. And you still know it's him. That's the beauty of Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman does so well under 50 pounds of latex and makeup.
Yeah,
that's because he doesn't need 50 pounds. He is built a little different.
He's got the face already, so it's just gonna. All they're doing is enhancing what's naturally there.
Yeah, just watch Alien 4 or Pacific Rim, and you'll be like, "Yep, there he is. I recognize him."
This is another case where
comic book. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
This is another case where I think the sequel actually outshines the original a little bit.
Yeah,
that's an interesting point. I remember liking the sequel a lot, but goddamn if I can actually find it anywhere to stream.
Yeah, I just think it. Because sometimes when you have too much of the creator in the movie, it detracts from it. Better returns. But with this one, I think with the Golden Army, it felt like they gave Guillermo del Toro a little bit more freedom, and he took with it and ran with it.
Well, it's one of those things like we always say about Batman and Batman Returns is okay, the same could be applied to Hellboy and Hellboy Golden Army. Where, the first Hellboy is a Hellboy movie. The second Hellboy is a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Right.
And sometimes that works better than other times.
Because it really is. But I also don't think that. I also think that you'd be hard pressed to find another director who could do Hellboy justice as well as Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Because that's his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Right. Freaky Fairy Tales is definitely his wheelhouse, and. Yeah, I gotta see where Hellboy 2: The Golden Army is streaming because I haven't watched it in forever. Honestly, I don't think I've watched it since it first got released on DVD.
I don't think I've seen it since theaters.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to somebody else. Thank you, Em. Thank you, Derek, for your input on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Over all your stuff, Em, because I've got other people I got to go over with here. Let's move on to a good friend of the show, Dave McLean at McLean Dave, who writes, since I went to college in the 90s, I am morally obliged to mention The Crow and also morally obliged to forget its 187 sequels. Yeah, The Crow. That period,
mandatory
1994, 1995, 1996, where every dude at a Halloween party.
Yep. Oh yeah. I've got a picture of a guy dressed as the Crow at the at the bus company in college on Halloween.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, that was mandatory watching for every goth girl is you have to love this guy or you're not goth. And I was like, all right, get some goth adjacent and grunge and stuff. I'm like, he's okay, but also the whole drama over what happened in the first movie is just
oh my god,
that was just awful.
I have not watched. I can honestly say I've never watched The Crow. Any iteration of The Crow.
Yeah, me neither.
I've definitely I saw it.
You know what it is? It was probably everybody. It's one of those things where everybody just kept talking about it and hyping it up. And it just would not shut up about it. I'm like, no.
I've got movies like that.
Right. Yeah. It's 28 years later though. I will say I haven't watched it in about 10 years or so. The soundtrack is it slaps. The soundtrack is still awesome.
I'm guessing there's a bit of grunge in there.
A little bit of grunge, a lot of just dark gothy rock. I would highly recommend it based on the soundtrack alone. But it's also it's a competently made film that when you watch the movie, it's not it doesn't feel like it's exploitative of Brandon Lee's death the way that I feel not even the marketing did, but like the way people built the movie itself up. That makes sense?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Well, then never mind.
Sorry, it's just that whole like just kind of grunge horror comic book superhero thing.
Action.
Yeah, it's just not my wheelhouse.
It's the whole goth aesthetic. I mean, at the time when in the '90s, it's that whole goth aesthetic was kind of like, really didn't do anything.
Yeah, I'd recommend now that you're grown ups. Check it out.
I am.
Okay, well, Joe, now that you're a grown up,
I resent that remark.
Okay, well, now that I'm a grown up, I will watch The Crow again.
Okay, yeah, I gotta see where that's streaming. So, anywho, Dave also brings up Ghost World, which introduced the world of Scarlett Johansson and came very close to making Steve Buscemi likable.
Yeah. Yeah, never seen it.
I watched it once. It is based on a comic book.
That I knew.
Yeah, but I will say there's one thing about that movie that I remember that I still to this day use, and it's when I'm at the movie theater and they offer you like the difference between the large and the super size. Where Thora Birch, who's working the movie theater, is trying to convince a customer by saying, "But sir, any fool can plainly see that you get more for just 25 cents."
Okay.
All right, fuck Thora. I think it's funny.
Well, we haven't seen it, so we can't really comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, you tell a ripping yarn, but.
All right, well, let's move on then to Stephen J. Dermody at Stephen J. Dermody, who brings this might be the first comic book movie I've ever truly enjoyed, and that movie be Mystery Men.
And Roy, in all the years I've known you, I've never seen you walk away from a fight. Why, you lifted a city bus once, man. I think you've got what it takes to handle Casanova. We're all in over our heads, and we know it. But if we take on this fight, those of us who survive it will forever after show our scars with pride and say, "That's right, I was there. I fought the good fight." So what do you say? Do we all gather together and go kick some Casanova butt? Or do I eat this sandwich?
Oh, the SPD.
I really enjoy this movie. I paid movie money for this one. I couldn't wait to see this one.
You paid money for the action figures.
Yes, I
I did.
I think the world of this movie. It's so ambitious for what it is. It's they're lucky they made it before superhero movies became a thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked otherwise.
I don't know, it might have worked as like almost a parody.
Yeah.
But it brought us William H. Macy. I had never seen him before.
Oh, really?
And I'd never seen William H. Macy before, I don't think. And
okay.
he just sells the characters so hard. He's great.
Well, he was on that at the time, wasn't he on that CBS drama with he was on CBS at the time on some like Friday night drama.
Oh, was he? Okay, because I knew he was in Fargo. He was actually in Benny and June. He was in Boogie Nights. I mean, but this point...
yeah, I saw Boogie Nights in college, but I've not seen the other two movies you just mentioned. Okay. But him, I saw him and I was like, "You're great." Greg Kinnear was hilarious. I knew him.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens is awesome.
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. He's just there.
But who steals that movie though is Jeffrey Rush, Casanova Frankenstein.
Because Jeffrey Rush does that.
Yeah, it's just the whole character, and for a guy who won an Oscar to just be like, just look like he's just having the time of his life, being a supervillain.
Well, he does the same thing in Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's true, but this is 3 years before Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, but he's just having
3 years.
What's that? Yeah.
Wow.
No, 4 years.
I thought this took place like this was filmed like a lot earlier than it.
99. It was released in 99.
Yeah. But
wow.
Yeah. Pirates was 03, so 4 years.
Yeah. Well, no, for some reason I thought this was more like 96 or 97.
Oh yeah, no. This was
just
striking
special
while
effects.
the iron was yeah.
Yeah.
But this was striking while the iron was hot because they had a lot of top stars in this one. William H. Macy, Hank Azaria, Janine Garofalo was huge at that time. Jeffrey Rush, Greg Kinnear.
Tom Waits is in it.
What's that?
Tom Waits, Eddie Izzard.
Oh, that's right. Tom Waits is in it. Eddie Izzard. Michael
Paul
Bay
Rubens
actually shows up in a scene.
Yeah, Paul Rubens was making his comeback from the Pee Wee days.
Yep. Yeah, on that never-ending rehab tour that I think is still going on today, which is sad for Pee Wee.
Yeah. Well, he did the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. He did Batman Returns.
Yeah. And he also does pretty much every movie for Tim Burton.
Yep.
Not anymore, though. I haven't seen him do a Tim Burton movie in forever.
Well,
Yeah.
he still does voice work, too.
Yeah, he does voice work. I mean, he did show up as his Buffy the Vampire character in season 1 of What We Do in the Shadows.
Good for him.
Okay, now I have the most reason to watch it.
Oh, now you do. Yes, it's the Vampire Council. And it's all celebrity vampires.
You ruined my new jacket. Kill him a lot.
That's kind of weird, too, because his character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, was kind of more of a henchman-type character.
Well, yeah, but he was still a vampire, and he was willing to do What We Do in the Shadows. So it's...
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you need to watch all 4 seasons, Catherine. It's that easy.
Get right on it.
Excellent.
You have to. It is so good.
Yeah. All right.
I'll try again, but again, confessional programming, confessional stuff. It's just ugh. I sucked it up for Scarlet Witch, and it was one episode.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah. This I feel works better than even like how The Office does theirs, because just
I didn't watch The Office either.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
Yeah, I didn't watch The Office either. I could only take about an episode or 2 in there. Just couldn't do it.
All right. So let's move on then to a movie I'm not familiar with. Being Bookish, a podcast at being_bookish, brings up The Losers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, never
Keanu Reeves, right?
I think so.
Sounds familiar.
Unfortunately, I am not familiar with this one. Sorry, Being Bookish. I looked it up and I'm like, oh, I thought it was a TV show at first. Like, oh, nope, no, that's a movie. That's a movie. Never mind.
Looking it up right now.
Yeah, okay. I'm judging from the crickets I hear outside that no one is familiar with this one.
Yeah, no, nope.
Oh, well,
yeah, but now that I'm looking it up, it's like, well, I guess I have to watch it because we got Zoe Saldana, Chris Evans, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Idris Elba.
Jesus. When was it released?
2010.
2010.
Okay.
It's not a Vertigo comic.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, it was done by Warner Brothers, so that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, the first 5 people in here. Oh, Jason Patrick.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
So it's like, well, I think I remember that this movie existed, and it's got a lot of actors I enjoy, so I guess I gotta get around to it.
And
More
directed by
stars
Peter.
than there are in the cosmos.
Directed by Peter Berg.
Wow.
Actually, Peter Berg and no, sorry. It was written by Peter Berg and James Vanderbilt. It was directed by Sylvain White.
Okay. Wow, it's still, I mean, it's, how have I never heard of this movie before?
Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, what did I step on? Oh, that was just my dick. Never mind. All right, and then finally, Movies for Real, which is at Movies, the number 4, REEL pod, brings up Kingsman: Secret Service. The first one is just a fantastic movie. Legit reminded me of rated R Spy Kids movies.
Huge IQ, great performance in the Marines, but you gave up. Drugs, petty crime. Never had a job.
Who are you?
Your father saved my life.
Dean says you're fair game. Boys.
I've had a rather emotional day, so whatever your beef with Eggsy is, and I'm sure it's well-founded, I'd appreciate it if you could just leave us in peace.
You should get out of the way, Granddaddy. You'll get hurt.
Manners maketh man. Do you know what that means? Then let me teach you a lesson. Are we going to stand around here all day, or are we going to fight? Sorry about that. Needed to let off a little steam.
I love the first.
Yeah, I had forgotten that that's I believe this is a Mark Millar comic.
Yeah, it's Mark
Yes.
Millar.
Yeah. I like both movies. I agree that I like the first one better, but I feel like the second one has a good place.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the second one or any of the subsequent prequels or whatever.
I have not seen the third yet, but I
The
keep
prequel,
meaning to get around to it.
it's actually not bad. The prequel's not bad. It's a good setup for the the prequel is like, oh man, I should watch that, and then I forget, and then I go and I hear about it again. I'm like, oh man, I should watch that.
Yeah, the first one was just amazing though, and it's taken me a while to hear Freebird as a normal song again.
or if you watch the second one, you'll feel the same way about Take Me Home.
Take me. What is that? Take me home.
Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I have a special place in that because I've watched Logan Lucky.
Okay.
Oh, that's yeah.
I remember watching that, and usually I will be totally digging a movie if I watch it and then tell people, you've got to see this thing. It's the craziest fucking thing you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're kicking off with stuff like, the woman with the blades for legs.
Yeah.
Who literally cleaves that guy down the middle.
And Samuel L. Jackson is the super villain who's squeamish about blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great character choice, by the way, to have him do that list.
Yeah.
All in all, I mean, it's just the whole thing between Colin Firth looking like he's having a good time doing that movie.
Yeah.
Taron Egerton, who is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill's in that too.
At the very beginning, yes.
Yep.
And at the end as well.
That's right.
Well, mid-end.
Yeah, because that's how they kind of find out what's going on.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie a lot. I didn't care for the sequel as much. Did anyone watch The King's Man?
Yes, I did.
It wasn't terrible.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be, and it was better than it actually deserved to be.
It was better than The Golden Circle.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny that after doing Golden Circle, Eggsy went on to play Elton John in the biopic thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and that movie is phenomenal, and he was robbed an Oscar nomination.
Oh yeah, that was a better musical biopic than the Queen one.
Yes,
the Freddie Mercury one.
And those movies are also one of the few places where you can watch Mark Strong, and he's not a bad guy.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true. It was really funny when we were watching Stardust again, and my husband we were both sitting there going, we know this guy, and my husband nailed him first, and I was like, yes, you figured out it was Mark Strong. It was awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, everybody from Twitter who got back to us on this. Thanks for helping shape the programming tonight. Now, I got some stuff. I got quite a bit here from Steve. So I'm going to read this, and if we need to park on it, we will. Steve gave me a lot of observations to go with. So the first movie he wants to talk about is Tank Girl.
It's the year 2033. There's no law. No mercy.
You're gonna really love this one. Bang.
And no water.
There are 3 million liters of water underneath the blue dunes, and you will retrieve it.
The odds of survival are 1,000 to 1. And that's just the way she likes it.
My. Talented, isn't she?
Hi! Feeling a little inadequate?
Yes!
I
knew Katherine would like that one.
I don't remember it that well. I mostly just recall it being yet another B-90 sci-fi movie, and therefore legally required to feature Malcolm McDowell as the villain. And I did pay movie money for this, Katherine.
I paid movie money for this a couple times, and I own it, and I watch it pretty regularly. You know, like once every year or two.
Okay.
And it's just I love this movie. I love the soundtrack. It's great, good fun.
I feel like they definitely got the idea. Like they hammered the aesthetic.
Yes.
The comic book was getting at, and I really appreciate that about that. And you know, especially because audiences be damned, because nobody went to go see this movie besides us.
More people went to see this movie than went to see Weird Al's UHF. But anyway, because when I went to see Weird Al's UHF, which I went to see at the same theater in Maynard as I did Tank Girl, there was just me, my friend, and her brother for UHF. Whereas for Tank Girl, there was definitely a few more people at least. But yeah, Tank Girl, and like I read the comics after, and I could see, I'm like, yep, her hair changes from panel to panel. That totally makes sense. The fourth wall breaks. Absolutely. That's part of the comic. Where, you know, she like goes around, like, there was one of the first comics I picked up. It's like, she slaughters a whole room of people. And like, when they thought she was dead, and she's doing it all naked, and it's all like cut certain ways. And she's like, don't worry about it. It's a comic book violence.
Yeah, I think Lori Petty was a good choice too.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of anybody at that time who could have done the role better than she did.
Right. I'm assuming Mike and Joe have not seen Tank Girl.
I have not seen Tank Girl, nope.
Oh,
it too has an amazing soundtrack, by the way.
And it's got,
you know, my tastes in music are very different than yours, right?
Yes, I'm well aware of that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is like,
but it's not
I'm not talking to you with this, but I'm talking to the general audience here. That's a very good soundtrack.
Okay.
And it's not, I don't think you'd be terribly offended by it. You know, there are some songs that I think you'd actually like from it.
Yeah. And I got to admit, this is the Army of Me song from Bjork is like before she lost her damn mind. So it's like legitimately a good song that I can understand.
Yeah, it makes sense. And also it's a really early Naomi Watts movie.
Yeah, I always forget that this is like one of her first movies.
She's Jet Girl.
Yes, I know she's Jet. Ice-T is in this movie.
Ice-T is in this movie. Oh my God. One of the actors went on to be in Luke Cage eventually.
Okay.
The guy that's like the spiritual leader of the Rippers.
Oh my God! Why can't I think of his name right now? He just died a few years ago.
Yeah, he died shortly after Luke Cage.
Yeah.
After doing Luke Cage, but he's that guy. And there's like a couple other character actors that are the Rippers.
Yeah.
But yeah, Malcolm McDowell just going all over the place, and Lori Petty just meets him and is like, okay, you want to choose some scenery? Let's choose some scenery. This has been swell, but the swelling's gone down.
Yeah, I should try to watch that one again. I got to figure out where it's streaming.
Yeah, or you can borrow my disc.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on. Steve says that Spawn isn't a bad movie, but would have been completely forgettable without John Leguizamo's scenery-chewing performance in the movie everyone else seems to be embarrassed to be part of.
Imagine a substance with the power to destroy humanity. Imagine a creature insane enough to use it. Imagine a hero on the verge of creation. From flesh to steel.
You must visualize your objective.
From blood to blade.
Don't get cocky. You have a lot more to learn.
From man to spawn.
Peekaboo. I see you.
Personally, I think that Leguizamo came across as a third-rate Jim Carrey in this movie. I've got thoughts about Spawn.
Yeah. I have to agree.
Okay,
and I like John Leguizamo too.
Right, get your alcoholic beverages out because Suncoast. When this movie came out, this, just like Blade, was a movie that people would not shut the fuck up about.
No, because nobody could shut the fuck up about Spawn and Todd McFarlane at the time.
Oh my god!
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
This was shortly after, it was Spawn is a result of him leaving Marvel, and it's like.
But the movie itself just isn't. It's like they had competent people working on certain departments, but not on others. Like the makeup department did a bang-up job.
Yeah, the Spawn's outfit itself and the cape were amazing to look at.
The physical costume, Mike, I thought for Spawn looked fantastic. That cape just looked like MS Paint just splashed all over the screen.
Yeah, the major part of it too is Michael J. White is not a good actor.
No.
He can act, and that's a character with a lot of pathos, and he's not the guy to do that.
Right, exactly.
You know who didn't look embarrassed to be in this movie? John Leguizamo. You know who did look embarrassed to be in this movie? Martin Sheen.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're the dad of Charlie Sheen, and you look more embarrassed in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, again, going back to the makeup on this, I thought that Leguizamo's clown makeup was great, but they really were trying to get him to pull off like Jim Carrey gross out jokes and be the genie from Aladdin at the same time, and it just.
Oh, so they were like, you're going to be the mask. Yeah, you're going to be Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, and that's and not yourself.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It just, and just Joe, just like the character of Dengar, I see clown and I smell piss in my nostrils.
Yeah, I saw this movie in theater. I'm pretty sure I saw this in theaters. Yeah, because this was I was still in college at the time, so I probably went to see it with friends.
Yeah,
and I remember at the time thinking it was not great, and I haven't been back.
Oh, so yeah, no, it's just not.
And,
do you have any other thoughts on
you gotta remember this came out a couple of years after. You can see why Leguizamo was trying to ape Jim Carrey, because this came out a couple of years after Batman Forever.
Yeah.
When Jim Carrey was doing the Riddler.
Yeah.
And
it was.
And it almost seemed like John Leguizamo was like trying, okay, I'm going to top what Jim Carrey does, and it did not work.
He turned around and did The Pest very quickly after this too, and that movie is unwatchable.
Yeah.
And you know what? All those scenes in hell, they look like some of the best PlayStation 1 cutscenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, John Leguizamo is great into Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah.
But
when was Super Mario Brothers?
93.
So 4 years before this one.
Yeah.
So we're in peak Leguizamo at this point.
We are in the 90s was made for John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
I feel but it's just, this movie is one of those movies that for the time it just wouldn't go away because people wouldn't shut up about it, and then people finally gave it a second view. Like, I haven't watched this in a few years. Let me check this out.
Oh my god!
What the hell was I thinking? what is wrong with me? You know, and the funny thing is too, it didn't kickstart anything. You know,
No.
I see all these memes all the time about, you know, be thankful for Blade. It kickstarted the entire superhero craze. A, no, it didn't. B, I still think Blade is an insanely overrated movie. I mean, they were going to make X-Men no matter what. It's just the stars just needed to align a little bit. But I do love that Spawn did nothing for the comic book industry, especially because it could have used a shot in the arm because of Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Because it came out the same summer.
Yeah. After that.
Oh, God.
97 was a dark year. Think about what won Best Picture. It was Titanic. It was a dark year.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. And speaking of Jim Carrey.
Oh, and one last thing about Spawn.
Yeah.
It did not really make any money.
No. I mean, it did okay. It did okay for New Line Cinema, mid-level action film, but
yeah, but it grossed just under 90 million on a budget of 40 to 45.
Yeah, I'm not. What was worldwide on that? Do they actually know that?
I don't know. I'm just on Wikipedia here, and it just saying 87.9 million.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't really make enough to make a sequel, and.
No, although no matter what, Todd McFarlane keeps trying for.
He needs to stop. He really needs to stop. Just keep making your action figures.
And back when he was making a strong push to make another Spawn, he was looking for investors, but he would tell them well, I want your money, but I'm making the movie I want. I don't care what you say about it. This is my movie. I just want your money. And then he was shocked that nobody gave him money.
I'm blown away. You know, I mean that's.
So I'm surprised.
Well, the funny thing is that was around the time that so many of those artists that broke away from Marvel really thought they had Paul. Rob Liefeld's another one, and it's just it was the era of the punchable comic book artist.
The Chud comic book artist.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to another one. We kind of brought John Leguizamo being a low rent Jim Carrey. Well, Steve says that The Mask might be Jim Carrey's best movie, but if you say that to him, you'll probably get punched.
This is the story of Stanley Ipkiss.
Stanley, you are the nicest guy. Really, you are.
Yeah. His job is at the bank.
You're 40 minutes late. Now that's the same as stealing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dickey. It'll never happen again.
He loves his dog.
Come on, man. Give him to me. Drop it.
He's polite to his landlord.
Ipkiss, do you have any idea what time it is?
You know, Mrs. Peenman?
What? Nothing.
And the most exciting thing in his life are his pajamas. But now...
Hey, you! What are you doing down there? I'm just looking for my mask!
all that is about to change. Because Stanley Ipkiss is not the man he used to be.
Smoking!
I definitely wouldn't agree with that.
No,
the best movie, not the punching.
Right.
Clearly, his best movie is.
What was that?
What was that? You cut out.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're cutting out like big time.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I wandered off.
How dare you?
Yeah, my bad. I would say Jim Carrey's best movie is Truman Show.
I would agree.
Okay. It's a very good movie. The thing with The Mask is that this was like the 1, 2, 3 punch movies of '94. You know, you had Ace Ventura, you had The Mask, you had Dumb and Dumber. I haven't watched this one. I'd be actually curious because I feel like this is the only one that might not be problematic.
I enjoy The Mask. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I'd definitely have to go back and watch it again. But I definitely enjoyed it when it came out, and I have watched it. Yeah, I've watched it since. And yeah, I agree. Like, probably the least problematic.
I like how it, like, especially at the time, it was seriously playing to Jim Carrey's strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, we need somebody that is a contortionist and can kind of act and is funny.
Yeah. We need a human cartoon.
Yeah, he's a contortionist.
Yeah.
Anybody that's seen him in Peggy Sue Got Married or in Living Color knows that.
Yeah. And the special effects of this movie, I have no idea if they've held up, but I just remember being absolutely blown away by the special effects.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be cartoony, so they don't have to be, they don't have to hold up realistically. They have to hold up cartoonishly.
Yeah.
Right. Especially, we see that one of the eyes popping out, the jaw dropping, his head turning into a wolf when he sees Cameron Diaz for the first time.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, well, that's true.
Her in that movie, like,
yeah,
we had Cameron Diaz for a while, and she was amazing, and then Charlize Theron came along, and we were like, oh, we were so wrong.
Oh, yeah. And now we've got Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Although she's very different flavor.
She is.
And Charlize Theron is holding up. So
she absolutely is. And hey, she's your Clea in
that's right.
Doctor Strange verse. So, anything else you want to say about the mask before we move on?
Well, I think I've never read the comic, but I've heard it is actually quite a bit more violent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've read the comic, and it is not a G-rated comic.
Yeah, no, they sanitized. They knew they needed that family audience for the mask, even though
especially if we were bringing in
character is terrifying when he puts the mask on.
Yeah,
especially if we're bringing in Jim Carrey, who has a very much a mainstream kind of audience.
Right.
Yeah, in a mainstream audience, and Living Color was still on the air, I think. He was definitely in his upswing at the time.
Yeah, I think it might have been his last season with Living Color because he had already done Ace Ventura. Actually, I think around the time The Mask came out was when he got pegged to do Riddler the next year.
But the big question is, did Steve bring up the sequel?
No, but I was going to bring it up. Has anyone ever seen Son of the Mask?
No.
Yes.
I've commentary on it.
I know I saw it. I think I saw it and went, wow, this is way worse than the original, which I had enjoyed, but I do not currently own, so therefore...
Yeah. I've only seen video commentary on it, and it's all just... It looks... It's an embarrassment. It is an absolute embarrassment.
It was definitely a quick cash grab.
Let me see. We can't get Jim Carrey, so let's go with Jamie Kennedy. He's the next best thing, right?
Oh my God, Jamie Kennedy! Oh Jesus! Why did you have to say that name? Oh.
And if I'm not mistaken,
Jamie Kennedy is
10
fine.
years after.
Yeah.
I think it came out like in 2004 or something. It took 10 years to get that movie out.
Right. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go puke.
Jamie Kennedy is great when he's getting killed in Scream, and that's about it.
That's it. That is it.
And I think Loki is being played by
Alan Cumming.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, who is so much better than that movie gives him credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Cumming has definitely had to rise above a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he did.
He was great in Tin Man.
He was
he was great next too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. He was great next to. He was great in Tin Man. You guys haven't seen the miniseries of Tin Man, so
no.
Yeah.
He plays the new version of the Scarecrow. He's really good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to some more of Steve's thoughts here. Wait, why are they remaking The Crow now that everything sucks? You're supposed to make that movie when the middle-class white boys don't have something to be sad about.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that every time they announce that they're going to remake The Crow, about 6 months later, they announce, no, we're not moving forward with that.
Bradley Cooper, what were we thinking?
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
Remake The Crow probably at least a dozen, if not 15, 20 times.
Yeah.
And it's never gone through.
We're gonna make the guy that played American Sniper the Crow.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no
No.
offense. We're good.
No.
They should just make it
Just
into
because
an
he plays Rocket, just because he plays Rocket Raccoon.
They should just make it into an anime.
Yeah.
God.
All right. Steve also says I never did see Barbed Wire. Also, no one else did.
No, I have,
did?
and I will tell. Hang on, we're going to park on this for a couple minutes while I talk about the fact that Barbed Wire, the movie, is Casablanca almost beat for beat.
Really?
Yep. It's not a spectacular movie until you sit back and go, "Holy shit! I am watching Casablanca." So, she runs a bar. Her ex-boyfriend comes to town with his new girlfriend. They are, rebelling against the man, and they need a way out of this place. And she happens to be hiding these contact lenses that will pass any retinal scan. But instead of hiding them in Sam's pianos, they hide him in her blind brother's eyes. She's good friends with the local cop. There's a fat white man up the street who runs a competitive bar that she eventually arranges to sell out to. Like, there's a little bit that's not Casablanca, but aside from a couple of gender flips, it's Casablanca.
Okay.
The thing I most remember about Barbed Wire is that's the reason why Gramercy Pictures didn't give any money to MST3K the movie. Because they put all their money into Barbed Wire, and it's like, yeah, nobody's going to see that little movie based on that Comedy Central show.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody went to see Barbed Wire either.
Yeah.
I do own Misty the movie, and I don't own Barbed Wire the movie. But I will watch Barbed Wire like once a decade to just like, it's fucking action and more tits, Casablanca.
Yeah.
But yeah, they hide the retinals, the contact lenses in her blind brother's eyes, and when somebody goes to scan him, the local cop guy, the Paul Rain's character is like, no, don't bother, he's blind.
The perfect crime.
I mean, no offense, Catherine, but if I wanted to see Casablanca, I'd go watch Casablanca.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I own Casablanca on DVD, and I've watched it a bunch of times, and I've watched all the special features, Lauren Bacall, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But if you happen to want to watch Barbed Wire for any reason, just know you are watching, somebody went, if we do it as Casablanca, no one but really weird people will watch both of these movies and get the joke.
All right, I'm moving on. Steve mentions he mentioned something we already talked about, Mystery Men. Let's make a movie that deconstructs superhero movies before there are enough superhero movies to create a reason for it to exist. Good point.
It was way ahead of its time.
Compliment.
Yeah, that was actually kind of the point at the time, was to make fun of superheroes, like when comics were starting to get a resurgence, but before the movies were really kicking in.
Yeah. So, and now, the problem is now I think it might come across as ham-handed if it were to happen today. It's like,
it's not. It ain't subtle.
It's kind of like Epic Movie, like those shitty, like, scary movie parodies. Yeah, kind of like that, where there's no thought put into it. It's just like, here's a famous IP. We're gonna switch some stuff around so we don't get dinged with copyright, and let's punch him in the nuts.
Yeah, actually, if I think probably the modern day equivalent of Mystery Man would probably be Daredevil. I mean, not Daredevil, Deadpool. It's a parody.
Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Recruiting the randos.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You could definitely compare the the scene of Mystery Men where they're recruiting people and get Janine Garofalo to the scene where they're recruiting people in Deadpool 2.
X-Force.
It's a terrific.
Love you, Sugar Bear.
All right, Steve writes, if I ever get my hands on the guy that killed Hellboy 3 so he could make a forgettable, gritty reboot, I'd probably give him a ration of shit. Actually, I probably wouldn't even do that. That's right, Steve is impotent rage.
I mean, I would have loved to have seen Hellboy, Guillermo del Toro Hellboy 3, but I get why the studio didn't want to.
Yeah.
Because the profit margins were going down and down, and Guillermo del Toro's vision was going up and up with budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but I haven't seen the David Harbour one, and I heard it's unwatchable.
Yeah, I haven't watched
that's what
it
I've
either.
heard. So David Harbour?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played Hellboy.
Yeah.
Well, if they were going to get somebody, at least they got somebody decent. But yeah, I still don't want to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's funny because David Harbour actually went to ask Ryan Reynolds for advice about how bad, when a movie flops so badly, how do you recover from it? Because of Green Lantern.
Because of Green Lantern, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he ended up being Red Guardian. He's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's Hopper.
He's not going to suffer. Yeah, he's not going to suffer for jobs. So.
Right. All right. Steve writes, Sin City 300. You might love Frank Miller. You might hate him. In either case, you might think he's a psychopath and should dial it back a little.
The guy's a fascist.
Well, the one time he did was 2008's The Spirit, and that was a pile of shit. Okay, yeah, let's talk a little bit about Sin City. We can talk at 300, and we can talk about their sequels.
Goldie's dead. I've been framed for murder, and the cops are in on it.
Open up, police.
I'll be right out.
Looking for Nancy Callahan?
Eyes to the stage, Pilgrim. She's just warming up.
Made a terrible mistake. We need to get out of here right this second. This clown's out of control. I followed him here to make sure he didn't hurt any of the girls.
Us helpless little girls.
It's time to prove to your friends that you're worth a damn. Sometimes that means dying. Sometimes it means killing a whole lot of people.
When I first saw Sin City, I thought it was really cool how they managed to make it look like it was coming straight off the page.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God! Once the afterglow is gone, though, oh God, it's dialogue like that hard-boiled, like crime noir dialogue sounds idiotic.
That's one I have
spoken out loud.
It's one I remember enjoying when I saw it in theaters, but I've never gone back to watch it, so I don't know if I'd still enjoy it or not.
I did go back to watch Sin City, and I still enjoyed it for what it is.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I enjoyed the initial novelty of the stylized kind of comic book cinematography.
Yeah.
But it wears on you real quick.
Oh yeah, the novelty wears out really, really fast.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that you have to be in the exact right mood to enjoy it, and if you try to watch it in any other mood at all, it's not going to work.
Right.
But I've only watched it when I'm like, I'm ready to be here.
I watched it again like a second time. I was on an airplane. Autumn and I were flying to London.
That is the wrong time to watch it.
It was the wrong time to watch it, but I had an aisle seat because of my long legs. I always get the aisle seat. And I put on the movies on TV, and they had Sin City, and I'm watching this thing. And
oh God,
it's been forever since I've watched a movie on an airplane. I didn't realize they don't edit the movies anymore. Like last time I watched a movie on an airplane prior to that might have been Flying to California when they had like the screen in front of you. So it's like on my little thing, and I'm watching it, and Carla Gugino gets naked, and I'm like, oh my God, I turn my head, and like over my shoulder, diagonally in the center aisle, is like this 10-year-old kid who can't take his eyes off of it.
Oh no. You traumatized a child.
I don't know if I traumatized
I don't think you traumatized them.
No,
I think you awakened something in them.
Yeah. Have you guys seen A Dame to Kill For, the Sin City sequel?
No.
I did. I definitely did at least one. I think I watched it the one time, whereas I've seen Sin City more than once, but only like a couple of times.
I've heard that like only like one or maybe one of the segments is any good.
I can highly recommend the movie based on the fact that Ava Green is topless for 90% of her performance in the movie, and that's the only thing that recommends this movie.
Isn't that also the only reason you're recommending
the sequel to 300? Yeah, that's my reason.
Well, I haven't seen the sequel to 300. I know, Joe, you watched the sequel to 300.
Isn't that because your son ordered it?
Yes.
Yeah, when he was a little baby, he
I think it was like
accident.
2 or 3 years old. Your son bought it, and you had to watch it.
I had to watch it. I mean, it was again. It was worth it to see Ava Green topless for a chunk of time, but that's about it. The only redeeming quality it had.
The original 300 is so fucking goofy. It's impossible for me to take that movie seriously. And what kills me, and it's not surprising at all, it's such a bro-y movie.
Of course it is. It's a Zack Snyder movie.
Love that shit.
It's a Zack Snyder movie. What did you expect?
Yeah, I know. And this is like the beginning of the Snyder, the Snyder sycophants. It's not a well-told story. There was one scene that was supposed to be played for like absolute drama, and Autumn and I are watching this. I think we saw it in IMAX, and it's a scene where they're talking, they're having a good time. And then one of the Persian stereotypes comes in on a horse, and you get the slow motion no, and one of the guy's sons is decapitated, and we were in hysterics with the way it was shot. We're just both like,
yeah. I wanted to see the movie until I watched the trailer for like a third time. And I was like, how many slow motion jump shots with him having like the spear and an outstretched arm? How many of those shots can you have in one trailer?
And again, it's that stylized comic book cinematography is just like, oh god,
and that brings us to The Spirit, which is just it.
My city. I cannot deny her. My city screams. She is my mother. She is my lover. And I am her spirit.
It's like they took 300, they took Sin City, blended them together, and made a movie that's just unwatchable. It's nothing to do with the actual spirit, like the Will Eisner spirit character.
Yeah, because that was just, they gave him a mask because that was what the producer, the comic editor wanted it at the time.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was just a regular cop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, have you seen The Spirit?
No, I have not.
It's not even worth it to hate watch.
Oh God. I'm looking. It was actually directed by Frank Miller. Oh
yes,
my God.
It
That's
was.
I was just noticing that myself.
There was a time when I really appreciated Frank Miller's writing, and that time is past.
Long gone.
Long past. I can still enjoy his Daredevil run from the 80s. At least we still have that. They can't take that away from us. All right, let's move on here. Steve also brings up somehow the bullet tricks in Wanted seem way less plausible and a whole lot more stupid than a magic loom being operated by an unknown force that for centuries has been using binary code to select targets for assassination in order to save the future.
I'd forgotten about Wanted being
Me
based
too.
on a.
Yeah, same
God,
here.
that movie was so. I have a Angelina Jolie. I'm like, there was a period I was like, she's great, but she's crazy, and yeah, that movie's bad. That movie is so bad. I'd rather watch Hackers again.
So would I. I freaking love Hackers.
I'll watch Hackers. I'll watch Tomb Raider.
I feel like the editing staff on Wanted did like 3 8-balls on a weekend, and then just went to town on the actual editing of the movie.
I can't believe that they actually had to, like, MythBusters actually had to test the curving bullet shit. It's like, really? Enough people believe that's actually a thing? God.
And that a bullet can go through 10 heads. Like, one single bullet has enough velocity while curving to go through 10 heads.
I didn't
both
hate
sides
Wanted.
of the skull.
Well, it does explain why certain groups of people are bad at science.
I didn't hate Wanted, but it also didn't really kind of stand out to me. It was a movie that I watched.
It was a movie that you watched until the credits came on.
I was very glad I rented that and didn't pay real movie money for it.
Yeah, same here.
I don't think I even paid rental money for it. I got it through other means.
Yep.
I probably used, like, this was back in the days of Blockbuster, and there was a Blockbuster near my office, and I probably borrowed it from there.
I think I got it from Netflix
and, like,
back when I was getting
points.
DVDs from Netflix still.
I remember I redboxed it.
Oh man.
That's the way to go. Be like, watch it and like, I'm going to return it as soon as possible and pay as little as I can.
This thing's going back to Market Basket ASAP.
All right, it's going back. Let's never speak of this again.
Until tonight.
Until tonight, exactly.
Keep forgetting that Chris Pratt was in that movie.
I know.
Oh, jeez.
And at that point, all I knew him from was like his little stint, and this was when it was still a temporary stint on Parks and Rec.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, when he was just like, it was the first season where he was still like laid up on Anne's couch.
I didn't watch the show, but I know the reference.
It's wonderful. It is a wonderful show. I know you're not big on the confessionals, but it's a wonderful show. So,
yeah,
all right, let's.
But you could sell me on Aubrey Plaza, that's for sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
The Funny or Die of her in a live action Daria was great.
All right, we're going to move on to some more Steve stuff here. We're almost done with Steve stuff. And he's actually doing a great job cutting out a lot of the stuff in our list here. So, Kick-Ass. Yeah. Oh, look, another deconstructive narrative. I get it. Real life superheroes would actually be terrible.
That's another Mark Millar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I definitely own Kick-Ass 1, and I might have Kick-Ass 2 on disc.
Yeah, I saw 1. I haven't watched 2.
2's okay, but yeah, Kick-Ass is one of those, when I'm in the mood for that, I want to watch Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies that I bought and I like had every intention of watching it, but I just never got around to it.
I don't know if you'd like it. It would definitely not be something I'd recommend to you.
Oh.
Right.
Although Nick Cage's Big Daddy is awesome.
Yeah, he is actually good.
Yeah.
And it's also the movie that gave us Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yep.
And Daniel Mintz.
Yeah, well, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, you mean? Yeah, like he was already McLovin at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like what I like least about the movie.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of character he's trying to play, so that's the point.
Right, exactly. But that's the problem with casting him in anything. He's never not playing McLovin.
Yeah, but he does it very like. I haven't read the graphic novel or anything, so I don't know. But the character, like, I think the actor does a great job with the character I believe he's supposed to be playing.
Okay. All right. So Steve also says, "Please stop telling me to watch The Boys. I'm never going to watch The Boys." Mentioned. And I know I'm the only one of us here who has watched The Boys. I got to admit, it is worth the hype. It's a deconstructive thing. The superheroes are bad, but they keep raising the bar on just how crazy can we get with superheroes' powers not working properly. I kind of meant, I alluded to that earlier. So in the first episode of season 3, there is a character who's kind of like Ant-Man, who can shrink down super, super small. And he is giving somebody sexual pleasure by shrinking down super, super, super small, jumping into their pee hole, and then kind of rubbing on the inside. But the problem is that he did too much cocaine earlier, sneezed, grew big, and just like literally just exploded the guy from the inside.
Oh my God.
I don't like the theories about what Ant-Man could do to Thanos.
Yeah, I thought you were only making a reference to that clip with with Ant-Man saying, "Now you're all wondering why I didn't just jump up his ass and get big."
It's one of those shows that I think they do a good job deconstructing the superheroes themselves, and also because it's a well-written show, people, of course, are going to misunderstand a ton of it. Kind of like the discussion about how all these dude bros just all of a sudden realize, wait a minute, Homelander's supposed to be the bad guy?
Are we the baddies? Yes, you are.
I find that funny, too, because in season 2, he literally uses laser eyes to kill a man. And then immediately after killing the man, he and his Nazi girlfriend have sex on the man's dead body. Like, right on top of it. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't hear me. His Nazi girlfriend.
No, I heard you. I'm like, oh crap, we're back to the Watchmen again, but not the cool HBO TV series.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I originally thought, Catherine, that this was going to be very, very close to Watchmen. It isn't. It does take different angles, mainly because the heroes themselves are more commercialized. They're more celebrities than they are blunt objects of the U.S. government. Yep. Their images are very tightly controlled. But I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I kind of watched the first season just to get people off my back. Kind of like I did with Invincible, and Invincible is overrated. And I know it's not live action, but Invincible is another. Wait a minute. You mean he's supposed to be the bad guy? The Superman analog's the bad guy?
Yeah.
He was so relatable to me.
I enjoyed Invincible, but I knew that the guy was a jerk.
I just, it's not live action, so I don't want to stay too long on it, but there was nothing about that show that was special, and it just drove me nuts when I was hearing a lot of, this show is amazing. Please tell me why.
I support rebelling against your parents, but yeah, but The Boys, we had been talking about movies, and The Boys is TV.
Yeah, no, I know, and we are going to talk about some more TV, but I figured while Steve brought it up, I was going to bring up The Boys. Well, let's blow through the stuff that social media didn't deem important to talk about. In terms of movies, so we've got Dick Tracy, which we talked about, I think, more at length in our Movies of 1990 episode.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I've still never watched it.
It's okay. It's a movie.
You know what? It's worth the watch just so you can then text me and let me know how weird or stupid it was. It really is more like you need to do this and then take it to the audience. But the weird thing is, this is a Touchstone film that is not on Disney Plus.
Oh wait, yeah, isn't it like on like HBO Max or something like that?
I have no idea. I gotta look. I mean, the problem is, I can't search Roku through my phone. I actually have to go to a TV to search Roku to see where the hell all my stuff is. So, Popeye.
What am I? I'm Popeye, the sailor.
Popeye, Olive Oil, Bluto, Wimpy, the Commodore, and Sweet Pea.
Popeye! I live I'm Popeye.
All your favorite characters come alive in Popeye, starring Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall. Rated PG.
Robert Altman, Academy Award nominated, one of the greatest American directors of all time. Robert Altman's Popeye, starring Robin Williams, and it's a musical.
Oh God.
You never watched it, Catherine?
No, I've never watched this because honestly, what I liked best about I like the old Popeye cartoons where the guy muttered in between. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just climb up this mast and I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna do this thing. That was my favorite parts.
It's funny because it's one of the few non-dramatic movies where Robin Williams isn't constantly riffing.
Yeah. And
it's a comedy where he's not riffing and he's not doing Robin Williams.
He's got it down. He actually does a really good job with this. He's one of his first movie roles.
He does. I watched it. I actually paid. Well, I didn't pay. I was a little kid when it came out, and I watched it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But I've seen it subsequently since then, and he does a good job as Popeye.
Yeah.
He sells it. And he sells it well.
Well, the thing is,
the rest of the movie is horseshit.
The movie is just it's indecipherable nonsense.
Yeah,
every character in the movie was made to play those characters.
Right.
You can't tell me that Shelley Duvall, when she when she turned 18, people were like, "You're gonna play Olive Oil one day." And
yeah, was this before or after? When did The Shining come out?
1980, same year actually.
Same year. Wow.
Yeah.
Popeye's that old?
Popeye's 1980. Paul Smith, who plays Bluto or Brute, I think he's actually Bluto.
Bluto,
he was Beast Raban in the 1984 Dune.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And Ray Walston was perfect as Poop Deck Poppy.
Yep. And Paul Dooley is Wimpy.
Yeah.
And everybody looks good. I feel like the movie doesn't get enough credit for how good it looks. Yeah, you're right. The songs are all horse shit. It's just
the plot is
in scene to scene.
Yeah, the plot's indecipherable. You have no idea what's going on. There's no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever.
And every establishing shot is shot in auteur vision, which means it's a wide shot.
Right, and it's like it takes place in this rocky island in the middle of nowhere. You have no idea what these people are, why these people are there, what's going on. But the thing is, the people playing they nailed the characters, and the characters are well done. It's just there's no rhyme or reason to the movie whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, it's if you haven't seen it, Mike, have you seen it?
Nope.
Okay, it's. I think this might be like one of those free with ads on YouTube type of movies now. So definitely check that out.
You do know the reason I pay for YouTube is so that I don't have commercials, right?
No, I know that, but usually some of the movies they'll give you for free are free with ads, even if you're doing YouTube Red.
Yeah, I really
wow, and it was a moneymaker too.
I know.
It had a budget of $20 million and made $60. $1980.
That's insane. We were starved for entertainment. I think it came out early enough too. We hadn't elected Ronald Reagan yet, so.
It's the 80s. Do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan.
Oh, and it came out. It came out on Christmas time. It came out for the holiday season. Okay. Yeah, December 6th.
Never mind then. All right.
Well, they filmed it before.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's move on. Speaking of guys who don't want their fingerprints anywhere near any of their film movies, Alan Moore put out a couple of movies from hell.
Oh, Jesus, that
the grumpy beard with eyes.
Yes, exactly.
That crotchety old geezer.
Oh my God, Swamp Thing.
Man Thing. Don't mix up Man Thing with Swamp Thing.
Oh. But.
Alan Moore was Swamp Thing.
No, Alan Moore was Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he was. He just looks like Man Thing.
No, it's I've been rereading. I just yesterday got my copy of the 10th anniversary of Twisted Toy Fair Theater.
Oh yeah.
So Alan Moore, that's his running gag is that he constantly runs out and is like, "Don't mix up Swamp Thing with Man Thing."
From hell. if you had told me it wasn't directed by Tim Burton, but directed from the guys who did Menace to Society, I probably would have punched you in the face. How is this not a Tim Burton movie?
Because Tim Burton doesn't
Johnny
suck
Depp movie
that
without
bad.
Tim Burton?
Oof. I remember watching this movie and being like, I liked it enough to buy it used at like Hollywood Video. But I don't think I've gone back to watch it. And it's so different from the comic book.
I've never
Oh
watched
my
it, so.
god, is it different?
It's okay, but I don't know how it's different from the graphic novel because I haven't read that. But it's like, you know.
Yeah. What about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
The movie that destroyed Sean Connery's career.
Oh yeah.
I saw this one in theaters.
Same.
I did too.
I regret that.
I had so many high hopes for this movie.
Wow.
And the thing is, visually, it looks great.
Except when you get to actual CG special effects, because Hyde looks like shit.
Oh, but yeah. And then it's awful. The whole thing's awful.
It's terrible.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. I don't want to talk about that anymore. All right, the Sam Jones Flash Gordon.
Flash.
What plaything can you offer me today?
The planet Earth.
What's happening?
It's an attack.
Pathetic Earthlings. Who can save you now?
Flash! They'll kill you!
Let's all team up and fight him.
Prepare for torture!
I want him.
Stop at nothing.
Flash, I love you! But we only have 14 hours to save the Earth!
This is
Savior of the
goofy.
universe.
This movie's goofy fun. It's
And the thing is, it knows it. It's one of those movies that does not take itself seriously. It's kind of somewhat self-aware that it is what it is.
It's total goofy fun, and I watched it recently, and it's still goofy fun.
Yeah, me too. I came across it. I don't know if it was like on TNT or something. I came across it while I was flipping the channels. So I just kind of stopped it. It was at the fight where between Sam Gordon and Sam between Flash and Tim Daly's
Tim Dalton.
Tim Dalton's character.
Timothy Dalton's in this doing his
he's hamming it up for the screen in this movie.
He kind of did that for the least asshole Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
It's like if Errol Flynn wasn't a horrible person, it would be Timothy Dalton.
I definitely think my son would appreciate this more than my daughter. I really should show it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
Especially he's at the right age because, Brian Blessed, The Flying Man. Like, my father took us to see this in theaters.
Wow.
Putting aside this slightly problematic portrayal of Ming, but
yeah,
we won't settle on that for too long.
Yeah.
Well, the character itself is, so let's just say that it was like the character itself was terrible, and so it's best played by a white man anyway.
Yeah.
Man, this came out in 1982. Jesus.
I know. 1980 is like the undercover 80 year for decent movies or like memorable nostalgic movies.
But yeah, I watched this again recently because it was like a sci-fi movie marathon thing, and it was like, hey, I don't remember most of this. This is pretty fun. If you, again, you have to take it for what it was. Freaking Topol's in it.
Yeah, the smoker's tooth polish. Thank you. Somebody got that joke. All right, let's move on. The Shadow.
Who knows what mysteries wait in the darkness? Who knows what power lies beneath the mind?
Someone's coming.
Who knows what terrors prowl in the underworld? The Shadow knows. An ancient evil returns.
Oh my God.
And the only hope is...
Lamont Cranston.
There is one face he shows the world, and the other he hides in shadow.
I do what I do to fight back the evil inside me, but some part of it is still there.
Has anybody actually watched this one?
I paid movie theater money for this.
You sorry son of a bitch.
I don't remember if I paid movie theater money for this, but like I listened to, this was at the time that you could get like radio dramas from the period on tape.
Yep.
Do you guys remember Mr. Boylan or Jim T?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Oh,
Elmer
yeah.
Fudd. Yeah, he looked like Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, he looked like and could talk like the original Elmer Fudd. Yeah, he also could do. Like
The
we found out, like I mentioned the Shadow, and he goes, "The Shadow knows." Bah! And I was like, "Mr. Boylan."
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I saw this in theaters too.
Oh God!
I think this was just trying to capitalize off the Batman kind of.
Oh,
It was like that first swing at like anything that sounds like a superhero movie we can make into a superhero movie.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, and trying to make Alec Baldwin work, but yeah, I remember this better for knowing that Mr. Boylan could do a pretty good Shadow impression than I do the movie itself.
Yeah,
it's not really based on a comic though. It
started in Pulp. It started in Pulp Fiction, and then moved on to radio dramas and then comic books.
Yeah.
Same thing with Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. They like started way back in the 20s and 30s
as comic strips, and
yep.
So yeah, I watched this movie once. I never need to watch it again. I really, truly never need to watch this movie ever again.
Yeah, no, it's like if it had any redeeming value, maybe, but it does not.
And he doesn't really even have any power. He's just like good at hypnotism.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much it.
And laughing.
Yeah.
Just mysteriously.
Yeah.
The Phantom. All I have to say about the Phantom is that Billy Zane could have done a couple of sit-ups before squeezing himself into that purple suit.
The most I know about the Phantom is that I got when we sold it at Circuit City, we gave away these like kind of Phantom replica rings, and we had a whole bunch left over, so I just took one.
Yeah, we did that at Suncoast as well, and I my finger got infected. Like my skin actually got infected from it. Goddamn Phantom. And Christy Swanson's in that movie, and she's a horrible anti-vaxxer, so whatever.
Christy Swanson's not great before even that, and well, I don't mind Billy Zane in purple spandex. And even though he could have done a few sit-ups, he still looks better in spandex than Adam West. No hate on Adam West Batman, because that's always just fun. And they did bust the whole myth of if you punch a guy with your ring on Mythbusters, it doesn't leave an impression in skin.
Yeah. Thank you, Mythbusters, for proving us all wrong. All right. So we've got the Guyver and Guyver Dark Hero. All right, nerds, take over on this one. I can't talk to
Yep.
The Guyver Unit. It's been a year since the alien armor invaded my body and became a part of me. A year since I first became the Guyver and destroyed the Kronos Corporation and their shape-changing killers, the Zoonoids. Now Kronos is gone, but the Guyver stays in me, calling me to fight, to kill.
I've only watched the Guyver.
Okay, well, yeah, the Guyver was. They got the suit from the anime out and the manga just right, and the monsters look close, but the problem is like the anime is a hard R. I mean, there's blood and gore galore, and
it suffers from being American, trying to be Americanized, which you can't do with
they toned it down to PG-13, and they got stunt casting with Mark Hamill. And one of the henchmen monsters is played by Jimmy J.J. Walker.
Yeah.
And guess what the last line of the movie is?
Dynamite?
It's his monster going, dynamite.
Ugh.
Yeah. But the second one is actually much closer to the anime that they use an R rating. They go with the blood and gore. I mean, unfortunately, they also lowered the budget considerably, and it shows. I watched it again yesterday, and I saw this review online that said it looked like if you were going hard R with Power Rangers, and yeah, it does look like that. It's obviously guys in suits fighting each other, and the main character is played in the sequel by David Hayter, who is most well known as being the voice of Solid Snake in the video games. And yeah, there really aren't any notable actors besides that. The budget is low and it shows, but the mythology and the story is there, and that's what kind of makes me enjoy it. It's a hard watch because it looks cheap.
Yeah.
But if you can,
it's got all the good makings of a good body horror flick, but
yeah, if you can get past the
cheesiness,
there is a fun fact to be had. I think if you're a fan of like anime or like Sentai shows, you can probably get a lot of fun out of this. Andy, I don't think you'd like it.
No, probably not. I tried watching Death Note in terms of manga brought to live action. And
oh yeah. No, bad.
It's not so good.
Bad example. But yeah, because the anime is, I mean, you've got like the guy, taking these monsters and crushing their skulls into blood and gore just flying off the place, and they kind of get into that a little bit, not to that extreme because you can't with a budget, but there's a lot more blood in the sequel.
Yeah.
So I think it's a better watch.
All right, we got two more on here, and then we can wrap this up. Let's talk quickly about Red.
Don't make any sudden moves. Don't talk about satellites.
Seriously?
Why are you trying to kill me? Why would I be trying to kill you? Because the last time we met, I tried to kill you.
That was a long time ago.
Some people hold on to things like that.
They used to be the CIA's top agents.
Victoria, best network asset in the business.
What's that? I kill people, dear.
But the secrets they know
This is off the books, total blackout.
just made them the agency's top targets.
Tell me everything you know.
Some thumbsucker tagged him Red.
Red?
Retired, extremely dangerous. Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
I've only seen the first one. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
The first one was fun. I haven't watched the second one.
I totally forgot it was based on a comic book.
Yeah, written by Warren Ellis.
It rekindled my love of Helen Mirren.
Okay.
Oh, that too.
Yep.
That never goes away from me.
Yeah, she is just unbelievably attractive for a 70-year-old.
Yes, indeed.
Well, yeah. Her in a ball gown and combat boots firing a minigun is unforgettable.
Yeah. I honestly, the thing I probably didn't like most about Red was Bruce Willis. I liked all the side characters way more than I liked him.
Well, it's Bruce Willis playing Bruce Willis.
He was the straight man.
Yeah. I don't mind him, and he's doing what he does, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it.
Yeah, and, he makes a good linchpin for the movie. That's about it.
Yeah, but John Malkovich was so fantastic in that movie too.
He was.
Yeah.
He's just so unhinged.
Yeah, he's great in that, and also the second one. I did see the second one.
Okay.
How was it?
I liked it. If I was going to rewatch, if I was like, you have to rewatch one of these and you can only pick one, I'd definitely go with the first one.
Fair enough.
But the whole like, okay, yes, come to my Volkswagen Beetle, and then we will open the hood, and then we will just go down into my secret bunker.
Cool.
I was just like, I'm gonna remember this for the robot uprising and make myself my own bunker. I was like, that's a great idea.
All right, one last one here, and that's Scott Pilgrim Saves the Universe.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Versus the World.
Versus the World. Sorry.
This is Scott Pilgrim's precious little life.
Scott, if your life had a face, I would punch it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
He's a rocker,
Oh my God!
a slacker, and a lover.
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, one mystery girl
You know this one girl with hair like this?
Yes, that's Ramona Flowers. Somebody said she was going to be here tonight, actually.
will make him
So this is a date, eh?
Did I say date?
Slip the tongue. Tongue.
a fighter.
Mr. Pilgrim! I'm Ramona's first evil ex-boyfriend.
Wait! We're fighting over Ramona?
Didn't you get my email explaining the situation?
I skimmed it. What was all that about?
If we're gonna date, you may have to defeat my 7 evil exes.
I love this movie. I don't love it as much as most people do.
Oh, I love this movie.
I like it.
I enjoy it.
It doesn't deserve the hate it gets. I think it deserves better.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets any hate at all, actually. I feel like it's one of those movies that, people have glommed onto it to the point where it is super popular. But it didn't do well in the theater. Because the Edgar Wright film, and those never do well.
No, they don't. Shame.
Financially, at least. So
I thought the casting was fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, I like the casting. I like the visual ideals of the movie.
Yeah, the visuals actually. This is one of those few movies where the comic book aesthetic actually really works very well.
Oh, big time.
Because it doesn't dominate the visuals. It doesn't dominate the scenes. It just kind of enhances what's already there.
Yeah.
So yeah, all in all, it was a good movie. I liked it. So.
And oddly enough, I think my favorite character is probably Alison Pill as the drummer.
Okay.
Because she's just so she takes no shit out of anybody.
Yeah. And this is pre-Succession Kieran Culkin. So
actually, there's a lot of really big names in this movie.
Oh yeah, you got you've got Chris Evans, Brandon. Is it Brandon Routh is in this?
Yeah, Brandon Routh is in there. You got Brie Larson.
Yep.
In there, you got
Right.
Kieran Culkin, Michael Cera. You got Thomas Jane is in there as well.
Yeah.
As one of the vegan police.
Yeah, maybe we'll give this one a spin with the kids and see what they think of it. So.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, hey guys, great conversation. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies outside of the DC Marvel kind of continuum.
Exactly. So it's not just all Marvel and DC, and not all Marvel movies are the same thing. Get over yourselves. Hating Marvel doesn't make you an interesting person. So anyway.
Yeah, it's not a personality trait.
Yeah. Next episode, we are going to go back to the 80s. It's been a few years since we've actually had a good conversation about 80s music. And I had an idea while we were listening to some 80s music at Original Recipe Mike's wedding. And that was, we are going to do a list of each of our individual 5 favorite songs from the 80s. So for this episode, we're going to do this as kind of like a multi-part thing. Our 5 favorite songs between the years 1980 and 1984. So the first 5 years of the 80s. We've got 5 songs that we'll discuss, each of us. So anywhere from 20 to 25 songs on that list. But
so five songs per year.
God, no.
God, no.
What is wrong with
No.
When you said like 25 songs, I thought you meant 25 songs for each of us.
No.
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 Oh my God, no.
Okay.
That would be like
five songs
so that's
spanning.
That's us not recording anything for the rest of the year or talking about one song for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
No, that's 5 songs from the span. I mean, that's our favorite song spanning 5 years.
Okay.
I edit the music shows, Mike. Do you really want to put me through that?
Let me think about that.
Oh, damn you. So anyway, we'd love to know what your favorite songs from the years 1980 through 1984 are. You can let us know by hitting us up on our social medias, which are Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. If you like this show, let your friends know they can get it wherever they listen to their podcast. So if you're listening to us on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, tell your friends that. They can get us there. And they can check out our audio as well as our retro movie reviews, which Mike and I do weekly, on our YouTube channel, which is Geek Salad Podcast. Check out our merch store at TeePublic, keyword Geek Salad Podcast. And that is about it for all the stuff. Thank you, everybody who contributed to this week's episode.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Thank you. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
I'm Katherine.
Go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.
My birthdays!
Like all natural foods and beverages, organically grown, with no preservatives. Are you sure they're real lemons? Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll buy a cup if you buy a box of my delicious Girl Scout cookies. Do we have a deal? Are they made from real Girl Scouts?